Hour, we are going in depth on what's at stake in the midterm elections. There are 36 governor's races, 35 Senate battles, and 435 House races taking place from coast to coast tomorrow. Our Washington correspondent Joe St. George breaks down the advantages and the disadvantages for each party.
Well, it's finally election week. By now, the money has mostly all been spent. The final ads are airing. All signs pointing to a historic turnout. So with just a few hours left, who has the advantage going into Election Day? Let's start with the GOP. Advantage number one for them: recent history. If we look at the poster of all the men who've held the job of president, you realize quickly that recently they tend to have rough midterm elections during their first term. George Herbert Walker Bush, his Republican Party didn't win in 1990. Bill Clinton's Democrats lost big in 94. So did Democrats in 2010 when Obama was president. And Trump lost the House in 18. George W. Bush, the only recent president not to suffer a setback, but 9/11 happened and his approval ratings were high. Republican advantage number two: inflation in the economy. While you can debate what role Democrats actually played in creating inflation, the reality is voters in nearly every poll care about this issue more than any other. And Republicans maintain the edge when it comes to who Americans think can fix it.
My fellow Americans, folks can win.
But don't count out just yet the Democratic Party, especially when it comes to the Senate. Democratic advantage number one: a friendly map and inexperienced GOP candidates. Of all these 9 swing states, Democrats currently control 5 of them, and all their candidates have a real shot at re-election. If Democrats just win what they already control, they'll keep control of the Senate. Democrats could also even flip a red state like Pennsylvania. Not to mention Republican Senate candidates in Arizona and Colorado, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New Hampshire are all running what experts say are solid campaigns, but not one of them has actually held elected office before. And finally, Democratic advantage number two: an unprecedented concern about democracy. This is the first major federal election since the January 6th attack at the Capitol, and we still don't know if Republicans will be penalized for their alleged role on that day. One thing is clear: the White House will have to work with whichever party controls Congress after Tuesday's election. If Republicans take back just one chamber, it will create new political debates in this country over everything from the IRS to the border. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.